the history of Vorticism in its own time, if you like, in that narrow period of time from 1914 to 1917. There is a sense of this sort of great burst of energy, this sort of demonstration of confidence that something like this communicates. But then something which, of course, almost as soon as it's founded is undermined by the reality of the First World War, but also in a longer history by the loss of many of the paintings. And I think it is important to remember that the exhibitions that we refer to here at the Doré Galleries in 1915 in London and at the Penguin Club in New York in 1917 included large-scale oil paintings by Wyndham Lewis, Edward Wadsworth and others, almost all of which have been lost. So there is an act of recovery and recuperation, a sort of archaeological investigation that Mark and Vivian talk about in their introduction to the catalogue. But like an archaeological excavation, we have to remember that there is a major artefact of Vorticism which is gone, or gone for now. I'm hoping that it's the first major Vorticist show in the internet age that suddenly these things might start reappearing. There is one great Wyndham Lewis Vorticist oil, The Workshop, which appeared in an antique shop in the Midwest in the 1960s. So, you know, there is still hope that they're out there somewhere. Anyway, the exhibition starts with a broader introduction addressing the sort of great explosion of avant-garde activity in London between 1910 and 1914, from which Vorticism emerges. In a way, the Vorticists are kind of fairly loosely defined group of associates, I think, people who congregate around the magnetic figures of the poet Ezra Pound, the painter Wyndham Lewis, and also the sculptor Henri Gaudier-Breschke as the third driving force. It's a group, if you look at the signatories to the Vorticist Manifesto in the journal Blast that they published in 1914, and then at the list of exhibitors in their first exhibition a year later, it's a group, the membership of which changes quite quickly and significantly. So I think it's more a kind of a loosely defined group of like-minded artists. And crucially, I think also of writers. We tend to think of Blast as a remnant of this artistic movement and a great piece of graphic design, but it is primarily a literary journal, and the poetry of Pound and Eliot and the prose of Ford, Maddox Ford and Rebecca West are all part of Vorticism as well. So we should try and bear that in mind, and you'll see that Blast is presented in a way that tries to keep that present. We start with Epstein's great rock drill, this great statement of kind of modern phallic power, if you like, this sort of skeletal, slightly tribal-looking, slightly machine-like figure sitting on top of this great emblem of industry, an actual mining rock drill from Holman's of Camborne. And you'll see later how Lewis cuts it down and emasculates the figure, and as a sort of very powerful statement, I think, of the impact of the war on art and imagery of the time.